Today we'll be going over the new Ascended Laegjarn and Path of Radiance banner. We got some extra info including stats, and we're going to go over general playstyle and builds for each unit. This banner will consist of Marcia, Astrid, Volke, and of course Ascended Laegjarn. Apparently I've been saying Marcia wrong, which I can accept, but I'm still going to call Volke Volke. Sorry. Now, along with this banner, we're also getting Tanith as a new character. No free copies this time, but she is in the 3 to 4 star pool starting right now. I did my summons before recording this, which was a mistake, and for reference, I spent 460 orbs to get 2 Volks and Spark Laegjarn. I focused only on red summons after getting the Spark, and I literally got 0 Taniths, so I wish you guys had better luck than me. I do want to talk about Tanith first though, because she's very similar to Marcia on the banner. They can basically run the exact same type of builds, so I want to pair them together. Now, Tanith is no longer wearing her bridal outfit, and it's going to be our very first sword flyer demote since the launch of the game. Technically, Sheeta was a 4 to 5 star unit, but she's been 3 to 4 star only for so long now, and we've not got another sword flyer demoted in over 4 years. Luckily, Tanith brings some solid stats with her. She has 41 HP, 36 attack, 40 speed, 32 defense, and 28 res. She has speed and res super boons, which is pretty awesome, and 40 speed puts her in second place for fastest sword flyer base stat wise. She does not follow the common lower defense higher res Pegasus Knight stat spread. Instead, Tanith is pretty balanced across the board. She can fit a multitude of builds, which is good because there's not a lot of free to play friendly sword flyers to choose from. For old skills, Tanith has Ardent Sacrifice, Sturdy Blow 2, and Flyer Formation. We've had Flyer Formation on a couple of Grail units, but it's nice to see on a summonable low rarity unit, plus it's her 4 star skill. Now for her weapon, Tanith has the Steadfast Sword Plus. If unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack and defense plus 5 and neutralizes unit stat penalties to attack and defense during combat. So Steadfast Sword is just Spring Bartray's Carrot Cudgel Plus. Bartray is a heroic girl unit, so you could get this weapon fairly easily, but Tanith brings another option. It's a solid defensive sword if you're worried about stat debuffs, and basically combines the debuff neutralization of tier 4 bond skills with the 2 space range of forms. As a weapon for Tanith, Steadfast Sword isn't exactly a must keep. It will boost her attack and defense, which is fine, and it also works off of Flyer Formation to stay near allies. However, needing to stay within 2 spaces of an ally generally means a more defensive playstyle, or you need to have good positioning. Tanith has the speed to be more offensive, so if you want to go on the attack more, then you may want another sword. If you're fine sticking your teammates, then you could try a very cheap mixed phase setup. Sturdy Blow with Swift Sparrow for a little more speed gives some player phase power, and attack and speed Oath can give Tanith buffs while staying near her team. Bond Sacred Seals are great too if you're using Flyer Formation. Now if you want to spread out a bit more, then you can go with the Unbound Blade Plus from Anand, and also which also gives attack and defense buffs, but it would neutralize the enemy's attack and defense field buffs as well. It's a solo based weapon which could work with things like Sturdy Impact, Guard Bearing, Reigns, and solo skills. If you would rather go for speed skills like attack and speed catch, then Flow Refresh is a rare but nice option to get no follow up. Maybe grab the Ninja Katanas since that banner should be coming back, and that can also go with things like Dive Bomb for a quad build. If you want an impact effect, then you can steal the Instant Sword Plus from Bartram, who is the Grand Hero Battle unit. That can open up another ASK option while stopping follow-up attacks. If you just want a pretty basic player phase build, then the Fire Sweep Sword is readily available from Soleil, and you just need to stack attack and speed. For the most part, Tanith is open to pretty much any playstyle. The hard part is finding an Inheritable sword since a lot of them are super rare and there aren't that many in general. Steadfast Sword can work for defensive builds, but it may not be that insane if you're not facing debuffs. Regardless, if you want to build Tanith, then as long as you got the fodder and can actually get her, then you're going to have a lot of build freedom. Up next is Marcia, who is the actual 4 star focus unit for this banner. She should be a lot easier to get before joining the 3 to 4 star pool. Hopefully. As a unit, Marcia will be a Lance Flyer. I know we have a ton of free-to-play friendly Lance Flyers, but Marcia will be the first Gen 6 option. She'll have 41 HP, 37 attack, 41 speed, 32 defense, and 26 res. She also has speed and res super boons. As mentioned, Marcia and Tanith are basically the same, just with a sword or a lance. They are both great demotes if you want to build a lower rarity flyer. For old skills, Marcia has Luna, Fury 3, and Speed and Defense Gap 3. Her Fury 3 is locked to 5 stars, but she's another option if you've run out of Hinatas. For her weapon, Marcia is going to bring the Unbound Lance Plus. If unit is not adjacent to an ally, inflict attack and defense -5 on the foe during combat, and neutralize foes' bonuses to attack and defense during combat. This is the same weapon as Pirate Geese's Flying Lance Plus. While Geese is a 4-star focus unit, you still need to summon for him, so Marcia bringing this weapon into the low rarity permanent pool is a very good thing. Flowing Lance is a super popular weapon because solo builds are very synergistic, and have a stronger low attack and defense on your weapon opens up some nice builds. This is true for Lance Counts and Lance Flyers, which there are a lot of, since both of these can now run low attack and defense with a Nurtrace Kanto B skill. Flyers can't even use lows in the first place, so it's a very solid weapon for them, and in general you can do a lot of fun things with this weapon. As mentioned, Marcia and Tanith can run the same build, so there's a lot of overlap between them. It really just comes down to inheritable weapons, and personally I like the Unbound Lance a tad bit more. Now, Marcia's base kit can easily work with something like Desperation since she already has Fury. With the Unbound Lance boosting her defenses and getting more damage, we can use attack and speed solo since you're going to need to be alone anyway, and Marcia can become a decently fast and sturdy fighter. Fury isn't ideal for long-term tanking, and double solo skills just work too well with this weapon, so if you can upgrade, it's nice. You can tack on the usual Nurtrace plus Rain C-skill combo for a bunch of in-combat debuffs, and Kanto is always good to have. It's a very consistent build. If you want to go tankier, then Guard Bearing is an option. Maybe opt for attack and defense catch instead. Menace skills can be fun too, and there are all kinds of solo sacred seals to customize with. Now, in terms of other weapons, Marcia can easily borrow Ninja Melkorn's Ninja Naginata Plus, the Steadfast Lance or Goat Fork are other attack and defense options, and Winter Hilda's Candy Cane has guard built in. She should be coming back next month. You even got the Courtly Candle or Stout Lance from Rochea if you really want. Lances have a lot more obtainable options, and while Marcia faces a mountain of free-to-play Lance Flyers, she brings very solid stats to compete with. If you want to build her or merge her, then she'll be another fun project. Next up we have Astrid. She's another green bow cavalier with 30 HP, 39 attack, 41 speed, 27 defense, and 23 res. Astrid would have the usual attack and speed super boons. Poor Sedgar had like a month to be top of the attack and speed standings for this class type, and Astrid's gonna blow right by him. Hard to complete with those 5-star only min-max stat spreads. In terms of old skills, Astrid's gonna have Rally Attack and Defense Plus and Attack and Defense Ruse 3. Rally Attack and Defense is on some Grail units, so you can easily get the plus version with the full Ruse B skill if you want fodder. Astrid uses the combo well though, because her Damiel bow is quite the support powerhouse. This weapon has 14 might, grants plus 3 speed. If Astrid has 125% HP, she also gets another plus 6 attack and speed during combat. This is fine and dandy, but our Damiel bow comes with another effect. If a rally assist is used by Astrid, grant target bonus doubler, and target can move 1 extra space. Does not stack and does not work on ranged cavaliers. So Damiel Bow is basically the second coming of Annette's Crusher. We have rally movement, and Astrid tacks on bonus doubler too. Very fun stuff, and another tool for Legendary Mart's buffing shenanigans. Important to note that it seems like Astrid cannot give the bonus doubler part to ranged cavaliers either. The extra movement not working makes sense, otherwise we get Legendary Sigurd type dumb stuff, but I feel like they should get bonus doubler just fine. I can't confirm this myself, but I read some comments about it, so be aware of that if you wanted Astrid to do just that for a specific reason. Since Legendary Azura is getting a remix soon, possibly, I feel like this could be a potential option for her buffs. Not that she needs any. Her weapon spreads the buffs on allies to the R, the highest buff on an ally to all stats, so bonus doubler would fit that very nicely. And Azura only gives extra movement to infantry and flyers, whereas Astrid and Annette can move or rally move armors and cavaliers as well. Again, not that Legendary Azura needs a buff, but these could be an example of what's coming. For her inheritable skill, Astrid brings Speed and Defense Bond 4. If unit is adjacent to an ally, grants Speed and Defense plus 7 and neutralizes units' penalties to Speed and Defense during combat. It sure feels like it's been a while since we've seen a tier 4 bond skill, but here's the Speed and Defense variant. It's fine for sticking next to a teammate, but it seems so awkward to put on a bow cavalier. You're making the longest attack range unit in the game stay right next to their team, which seems like a waste unless you're tanking hits. For Astrid, obviously the idea is that she's going to rally an ally and be next to them so the bond will activate. that's fine too, but she isn't exactly stacking any defense or res herself, so it's kind of a weird choice still. If you just want Astrid to rally your team, then you can keep it, but if you want her to attack something, then you probably want something a bit more less restrictive on ally positioning. Astrid has amazing support capabilities, but her stats are suited to offense just fine. Sadly, her bow only gives +6 attack and +9 speed total, which is good, but she's trading combative abilities for team support. Astrid's going to be fine taking down targets, but you'll probably want other skills like attack and speed catch or Swift Sparrow instead of speed and defense bond. She may be an easier unit to bait out as well with her super long attack range, so you're going to have to plan accordingly if you want to use her for a defense team. For the most part, if you just want more buffing power, then a C skill like Joint Drive Attack or Speed Tactic would be fine. Astrid handles attack and defense buffs, so you can add speed or res field buffs, otherwise just stack on more aimed combat buffs. If you're fine for going the Ruse B skill, you can get a little more power for Astrid herself. She can run a low skill, Far Trace, or Desperation for scrappier battles. There's also Rouse self buffs, but Astrid wants to rally teammates, so careful of positioning. Overall, if you want a strong vocab, then we've got other options, including on this banner. However, Astrid brings a unique support aspect that can definitely mess people up. Bonus Doubler is a fun status, so either you're going to need to nullify field buffs or be ready to for an enemy with a lot of stats and additional movement. Third unit on the banner is Volke. We've had some great Dagger units in recent times, and we're adding another scary candidate to the class. Volke is a red infantry dagger user with 40 HP, 41 attack, 43 speed, 20 defense, and 25 res. He'll have attack and speed super boons, and boy will he be dangerous with both if you want to spend a floret. While Yuri had incredible stats and the best attack and speed spread for the whole Dagger class until Ninja Igrin overtook him in attack, Volke not only has more attack but matches Yuri's insane speed as well. The Fireman is very dangerous, and we haven't even gotten to the good part yet. For old skills, Volke's going to have Sturdy Impact, No Follow-Up, and Times Pulse, all good skills for a lot of units, and Volke makes very effective use of each of them. This is because of Fireman's Hook, which is an insane weapon. It has 14 might, accelerated specials, and if Volke initiates combat or is alone, he gains +5 tall stats, gains no guard, and gains +1 special charge per his own attacks. Fireman's Hook is an absolutely powerful weapon. No guard with faster specials and special charge built in is so stupidly good, and it means you cannot stop Volke from getting to his special. Eventually this dude is going to proc it, and +5 defense and res, Sturdy Impact, and No Follow-Up gives Volke some protection to get there. You really do not want to let Volke power up because he introduces lethality to Fae. It is now confirmed that lethality is inheritable by any Dagger user, and it will be a top tier special moving forward. It has 4 cooldown but reduces the foe's defense res by 75% for the hit, and it disables non-special skills that reduce damage by X%. It may not be an instant kill like in the main games, but lethality is super scary. It's basically a 5% weaker Black Luna on 4 cooldown. But you get damage reduction nullification, which is very important for today's game. No one ever wants to tank Black Luna, and now any Dagger user can have this skill. It's not super easy to charge up, so it's not going to be the absolute best for everyone, but lethality is for sure something you want to try if you like Dagger units in general. It's not an instant win button, much like Black Luna, however it can chunk a tank unexpectedly. I am hyped and scared that it's finally in the game. Out of the gate, Volke is ready to go to town. His entire kit is made to proc lethality in 2 hits guaranteed. Faster specials with Times Pulse means lethality is going to go to 2 cooldown each player phase. With Fireman's Hook, Volke first hit will charge lethality guaranteed thanks to no guard, so he just needs to hit it again to proc it. With no follow-up, he can bypass Warrior Fighter skills, and he gains +15 defense with +5 res to tank a counterattack. Against slower units, if Volke survives 1 hit, he lands lethality, which is not great for any tank. He is susceptible to a one-shot special though, so it's not a foolproof game plan unless Volke has guard or damage reduction somehow. Another issue is outspeeding dodge users. Those guys are stacking speed, and while Volke is fast, running Sturdy Impact loses out on potential speed skills. If you don't need no follow-up and can survive one hit, then things like Swift Sparrow or low speed and defense would help in the utmost of DBZ speed fights. However, there's also another potential solution for this, and it's just pre-charging lethality right off the bat. If you can give Volke multiple infantry pulse support or Astia's pulse, then he could just start with lethality and go for a one shot. With that said, Lethality loses effectiveness versus dodge tanks since they have lower defense probably. I still imagine this is gonna happen on defense teams because again, no one wants to tank Black Luna without damage reduction. You still need to watch out for specials like Ice Mirror, but there are so many other damage reduction threats Lethality can try to punish. It doesn't necessarily have to kill a tank, but if it can chunk them for a good amount of damage and someone else can finish the job, then it's still good. Besides stacking more attack and speed and going for lethality finishers, Volke can abuse other specials with Fireman's Hook. He can double proc 2 cooldown specials thanks to Times Pulse, and no guard if he doubles. You could even run AoE specials with Special Spiral. Volke has everything you want for those types of builds, including Sky High base attack, no guard, and you only need one of the accelerated specials or extra special charge. He even has Dagger debuffs for extra moves via dancers. He just needs to get the first special going. Besides general assassinations, Volke could also mess around with things like Aether and defensive res increase in skills. He does have a okay balanced defensive spread and gets +5 defensive res from his weapon. He also is always charging a special, so you could have fun with that with something like a close counter setup. Fireman's Hook with that insane stat spread is so good, and lethality is kind of just the cherry on top. Volke may not kill everyone since he is red, but boy, there are a good amount of green units who like to abuse damage reduction a bit too much. Last unit for the banner is going to be Ascended Laegjarn. She's a bit early, but the Ice and Flame finale will be next month, so I'm sure we'll see her more there. As a unit though, this Laegjarn is a colorless bow with 40 HP, 39 attack, 41 speed, 30 defense, and 18 res. Of course, she has attack and speed super boons and is extremely close to Harmonic Leaf and Wolf in terms of stats. You can't really go wrong with any of them if you're looking for a strong cavalry archer. For old skills, Laegjarn comes in Moonbow, so spare 3 and attack and defense for Trace, looking like another scary offensive unit. Her weapon is going to be the Flame of Moose Bow, and this is one powerful bow in the right situations. It accelerates specials and then requires a bonus to be active on Laegjarn. If you have a buff or status active, then she gets +6 attack and speed, and gains stats during combat equal to 50% of the total bonuses on herself and the foe. This has a max of +12 to all stats. Additionally, if the total bonuses on Laegjarn or the foe exceed 10 or more, then she neutralizes effects that prevent her follow-up attacks. This is extremely similar to regular Laegjarn's Neo Refine. In fact, Neo originally took 50% of buffs on the foe, but they nerfed it down to 40% because the Refine let Laegjarn use her own field buffs. Well, Ascended Laegjarn gets the best of both worlds. She gets the extra 10% and uses either her own or the enemy's field buffs. This does have a max of +12, but it's going to be to all of her stats, which is just incredible. The offensive portion of no follow-up is also key since ranged cavaliers do not have a skill for this. For the most part, like regular Laegjarn, she thrives off of field buffs. Even if the foe buffs up, Laegjarn will steal those and even out the matchup. With a bow and 3 movement, she now extends her attack range by a ton. You're really gonna want to neutralize field buffs on Laegjarn, but field buffs are not the only thing considered as bonuses. This brings us to Rouse Attack and Speed 4. At start of turn, if unit is not adjacent to an ally, grant attack and speed +6 and no panic for 1 turn. So this is just Rouse Attack and Speed 3 plus no panic. That is pretty solid, and while it does deal with panic, it doesn't exactly stop buff neutralization. This means you can still use attack or low attack and speed on Laegjarn, and there go her field buffs, which means no more Flame of Moose Bow. Or does it? Actually, since no panic is a status effect, it should count as a bonus, which means Flames of Moose Bow is still active. Laegjarn may not have her own buffs, but she can still steal the enemy's ones. This is a pretty important aspect, and it applies to any positive status, like say Harmonic Catcher's Triangle Attack status, the Ground Order status, or something like Maribel's Trilemma status. Like in the story, the Flames of Moose Bow are not going to go out so easily. In general, Ascended Laegjarn is another scary bow cavalier that really thrives off of field buffs, her own or the enemy's. Not only does she add a ton of extra attack and speed, but Laegjarn can get defense and res increases as well, making her tougher to take out. Rouse Attack and Speed 4 may be ideal thanks to no panic, but if you cannot activate it, then any buffer will help Laegjarn out. Remember, if she has +6 to all stats, that's going to get her the max of +12 in combat buffs. Of course, enemies can and will neutralize Laegjarn's field buffs, so you may need to borrow theirs. You don't want to neutralize them with a low skill, since Laegjarn can still get buffs to all her stats, and you also need 10 or more total buffs to get partial no follow-up, which is pretty important. If Laegjarn is totally neutralized, you don't want to cut off the potential of still getting this effect, which is very good to have it on attacking unit. Technically, Flames and Moosebow works on either phase too, so you could go with a mixed phase skill like Attack and Speed Catch or Solo. However, Swift Spell is fine to keep. Fart Trace is also good, but you can swap to Desperation for longer battles, and since we have offensive no follow-up, Wind Sweep is on the table. If you fail the buff check though, then that can backfire pretty badly, so be aware of that. In terms of specials, Laegjarn could go for Deadeye. She has accelerated specials and can use Heavy Blade to proc it in 2 hits. Moonbow or Glimmer are fine on a 1 cooldown, and 2 cooldown Luna is still good as well. For the most part, besides just having a ton of attack and speed, Ascended Laegjarn can definitely put pressure on the enemy if they don't deal with her field buffs or use field buffs themselves. Ideally, you want a status on Laegjarn like No Panic. That way, even if Laegjarn has no field buffs active, she can see if the enemy has, or she can use the enemy's field buffs against them. If you can at least get no follow-up, that's good, but any bonus stats are just extra at that point. Really, we're just seeing who is more prepared. At her strongest, Laegjarn is going to be quite scary. Full +6 buffs with extra +12 on top is gross, so try to keep her buffed up as much as possible. That will wrap up this very exciting banner, and we finished book 5 as well. Next month we should get started on book 6, and Ascended Laegjarn should finally take the stage against Fjorm. Upcoming next is Bertram as the Grand Hero Battle Unit. Absolutely amazing art, but he's looking like he's going to join the same club as Orson, which is not exactly what you want to hear. We'll go over it more next time, so I hope I'll see you there. Thank you for watching, good luck if you're summoning, and see you soon.